guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today's the 22nd of September, 2019. It's a Sunday. You know what Sunday means? We're going around the world, baby. We have lots to talk about.
To be giving them billions of dollars for them to have complete control over our lives. I'm not stupid. Right? So, I mean, this is a most very exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, I almost, I don't think Boris is not going to get a deal. We're going to see some elections. It's going to be awesome. So we have something else. We have something going on right now.
Okay.
With Boris Johnson, there is a Supreme Court hearing because they're trying to challenge Boris Johnson proroguing Parliament here.
Now, what does that mean? Tell that to the people that don't know.
Putting the Parliament on suspension.
On hold.
And he had to get the Queen to sign off on it. And they're saying that he misled the Queen.
Good evening. We start with the landmark case being heard at the Supreme Court as the constitutional conflict provoked by the Brexit crisis reaches the highest court in the UK. 11 Supreme Court judges have started hearing 2 appeals to determine whether the Prime Minister acted lawfully when he suspended Parliament for 5 weeks. That decision was described by one barrister today as an abuse of power. But those arguing for the Prime Minister said he was acting in a political capacity which has nothing to do with the law. Our home editor, Mark Easton, has this report.
But the country voted, didn't they, to leave? Yeah.
Where does power lie in this troubled kingdom?
How can you be so stupid? He tells lie after lie after lie.
With the Brexit rift in noisy evidence outside the UK's Supreme Court today.
All rise.
Inside, the 11 most senior judges in the land sat in courtroom number 1 to consider that question and make it clear they were not there to judge the merits of Brexit.
The determination of this legal issue will not determine when and how the United Kingdom leaves the European Union.
A month after becoming PM, was Boris Johnson's request to the Queen that Parliament be suspended for 5 weeks a ruse to silence MPs opposed to a no-deal Brexit?
You can't shut up!
Scottish judges did think it stymied the House of Commons, ruling it unlawful. The High Court of England and Wales disagreed, arguing it was a matter for politicians, not judges. Representing the Remain campaigner Gina Miller against the government, Lord Panic told the justices Boris Johnson had acted unlawfully.
No Prime Minister has abused his powers in the manner which we allege in at least the last 50 years.
Without a written constitution, the relationship between the 3 pillars of UK governance is always evolving. You've got parliamentary power, of course, based over there. Then you've got the government's power, focused on 10 Downing Street behind the walls of Whitehall. And then you have the power of the courts, ultimately resting here at the Supreme Court. And what we're seeing this week is that balance of power being tested. The geography of Westminster reveals the triangle of power at the heart of the state. Today, Lord Panic focused on the relationship between MPs in Parliament and the government, headed by the PM in Downing Street, describing ministers as the junior partner. He also argued the courts were entitled to rule on the legality of Number 10 suspending or proroguing Parliament.
The Prime Minister's motive was...
Boris Johnson's real purpose was not a Queen's speech, but achieving Brexit by Halloween.
The best way to do that is if our friends and partners over the Channel don't think that Brexit can be somehow blocked by Parliament.
If this court finds...
This afternoon, Mr Johnson's lawyer in court had his turn to make the arguments.
The Prime Minister will take all necessary steps to comply with any declaration made by the court.
He'd come with an undertaking from Boris Johnson, but he also referred to Westminster's balance of power, suggesting the Supreme Court would be meddling in what were political matters if it ruled against the government. One judge wanted to know, if they did, might the Prime Minister seek to suspend Parliament a second time?
Can we take it then he wouldn't apply to have Parliament prorogued again?
I'm not in a position to comment on that proposition at all, my lord.
It would be helpful to have the undertaking all given in writing, so absolutely.
Well, I intend for that to be done, my lord.
Judges like to have things written down, especially when feelings are running high and they're attempting to unpick the complex relationship between legitimate power and political ambition. Mark Easton, BBC News.
So we'll see how that plays out. I got a feeling that it's not going to go anywhere.
So Leslie O'Connor says he didn't. It's unconstitutional. Okay, he didn't deceive the Queen. There was nothing nefarious going on here. He also says that Gina Miller is the scum of the earth. I think that there is a lot of love lost between most people in the UK and Gina Miller. That was the lady that you saw walking out there. Let's see. He says it's political, not legal, so really none of their business. I kind of would disagree. I mean, I'm not from the UK, but I would think like that they would have the ability to say, listen, no, this is here, and I'm just basing it on our own system. Judges are there to, in the United States, say this is constitutional, it's not constitutional. So if it's a constitutional right that Boris Johnson has, then I would think that the judges there would be able to at least come in and say yes, to back that up, to firm up the, you know, constitutional right there. So
we're going to move on from that. We spent a lot of time on that, but I think it's important. It's the most important thing that's going on for you guys.
Yes, it is.
For all of Europe.
And worldwide.
And some smaller stories here. The UK police will stop publishing pictures of seized knives because they are scaring people. What? The English police force has stopped publishing pictures of the knives confiscated during weapon seizures to help reduce the fear of knives. Pictures shared on social media of a variety of weapons confiscated by police or handed over in amnesties have become a common sight. But the Thames Valley Police will no longer do so over concern of knife imagery, and that could be triggering to the public. The public is like little children, so... The Thames Valley Police said in a statement that after consultation with other forces and the National Police Chiefs of Council, it would stop publicizing images of seized knives to help reduce fear of the knives.
But I would think that if you are posting pictures of knives, now that's just a steak knife. Like literally, that's all that is. Okay, that's what we've been reduced to in the UK because guns are illegal. Most, by and large, I know Barry's going to come in and correct me on that, but by and large, they are. I would think if I was from the UK, like, hey, you're seizing the knives, that makes me feel safer than not. Like, what about not posting the picture? That's really a blunt, that's almost the kind of knife you get at a restaurant. It's got that, like, rounded edge where you can, like, kind of cut a roll open with it and kind of cut a steak, but you can put some butter on there too. So I mean, seriously.
So this, the Hackney police actually deleted these. These were because they were mocked.
What do you mean mocked?
They were mocked on social media. These were like,
okay.
You know,
well, I was thinking like a mocked up like fake. So this is, I would think like a more scary knife, and this is a really small knife. And yes, my knife is dirty because I use it, but it's sharp. And I would think that posting knives of like posting pictures of switchblades and sharp knives would maybe be a little bit scarier, but that is literally the knife you get at Olive Garden. You know what I mean? Like it's not a scary knife to me.
So they had
it's not even sharp at the end.
They also had
you gonna butter me up?
They also threatened to arrest Facebook users who mocked their tiny cannabis seizure about enough to fill a thimble that they posted online, writing on their social media page. I would like to remind everyone that this is a police page. Whatever your thoughts on one of my officers seizing drugs in the community, being insulting, abusive, or offensive can result in prosecution.
Okay, so hang on. You said cannabis. You just mean weed.
Yeah.
There was marijuana that was found, right?
The size of a thimble.
And it was the size of a thimble, and everybody was mocking like, oh, it's not like you just found like a big cake of cocaine or something like that. Like you didn't, it's not a big deal. At the same time, these police officers, their hands have been so tied in what they can and cannot do that, you know, it's kind of adorable, actually. Look at my butter knife I seized and my little thimble worth of marijuana.
And then
I got it.
Then there was this one.
Got this hardened criminal.
Then there was this one.
Okay.
Where,
so these are more cooking knives. I would think more scary. Deadly big long butcher knives and stuff. No, so these are more scary.
Yeah, but along with the spoon.
A spoon? Are they outlawing spoons now?
We covered this. So find the spoon. The best part is the spoon.
There it is. Oh, wow. That's a silver spoon. You can tell by the discoloration.
Yeah, so there was a sword, you know.
Now, Leah, do you want to tell them what this is right here? This long thing right here. That's a knife sharpener.
That's a knife sharpener.
So they seized the knife sharpener as a weapon.
A couple of those, actually. And then the little tiny baby sword down here.
Where's the baby sword?
Right here.
Okay, it could be another. No, that is definitely kind of some sort of.
That looks like something very
But
historic.
these are literally like, all of these are for cooking. So it's now. See, and this is what I have. Now, what is that? What is this? That thing right there. It's like a plastic. It's a plastic knife, I think. Either that or it's bone.
It looks metal.
No, it does not look metal. It's very, very small. I have a problem because, you know, like, let's say you go to the store and you go shopping for a knife, and you are coming.
It will break. It chips easy. So.
And you're coming home with your little tote bag of knives that you've bought because you want to cook something, and then you can just be like arrested. I think that's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, and let's say you want to go to a neighbor's house and they don't have a knife, and you're like, well, I've got to like wrap this up, and I've got to put on a hood, and I've got to like slide it down my pants and kind of like walk it over like a thug because I got to hide it because I don't want to get arrested.
Yeah, well, forget somebody asking somebody to bring the knives for the
potato peeler, apple
for
gore,
the Christmas ham. So we just saw the UK police in a tweet telling people, don't be mean to officers online and mock them.
Right.
You'll be arrested. However, no charges, and I'm not going to read what he said in this viral video of a Muslim taxi driver who threatened to sodomize Christian converts in a viral video. No action will be taken against him.
You're kidding.
He threatened anybody, and some bad words, who wants to convert to blanking Christianity. We're going to blank you up in the blankety blank 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 in a viral video, which you can still find online.
And how did it go viral?
His 41-year-old Zahir Hussan shot the video, which went viral last December, alongside a laughing companion in a car of Preston, Lancashire. Press reports on the video are short on details, with one downplaying the rant as merely criticizing anyone who converts to Christianity. So I would like for you to see this incredible distinction. So if someone says, we're going to blankety blank you in the blankety blank blank if you convert to Islam, you know that they will be arrested. You will spend the rest of your life in languishing in jail.
That's for sure.
But it went on. There was more and more, and he simulated this act that he was going to do. Over the course of his rant, extended sections which are in a foreign language, he also demands, why are you blankety blanking converting, you blankety blank 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 blankety blank blank. So Hussan was reported by a Christian woman who says, this frightens me now to identify myself as a Christian. This man's dangerous views on something so normal like people changing religion is unacceptable. His threats to sexually assault those who convert to Christianity is the heart of hate speech. To me, he is displaying extremist tendencies and is encouraging violence. I'm genuinely concerned for the welfare of the public, but the police said, these were just private videos, no big deal. But remember, Count Dankula had a private video where he rather childishly taught the Nazi salute to a pug, and or to fall over with the pug. But it was at least something that was just kind of funny, not angry or filled with violence, and he was not promoting Nazi ideology. So what they're saying is that this pretend funniness, off-kilter humor is way more dangerous. This guy's not. This guy who's threatening to really hurt people. Now remember, I don't believe that threats of violence are protected under your freedom
Well, and that's
of speech.
the difference. And I think that, you know, when we normally, I would want to say, listen, this guy has a right. If he's just joking around, he has a right to say what he wants to say. At the same time, if he is just joking around, I still think it would warrant at least an investigation into his life to see if he actually wants to do harm. You know what I mean? So obviously the video needs to be taken down. Step one. Step two, he has to be put under investigation. Now, you said he was a taxi driver, right? Mm-hmm. So you would assume
he would have to have his license taken away.
He would have his license taken away.
Seems very dangerous. Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that there are steps that should be taken when someone does something that would, under normal circumstances, be an offense under the law, that's when your freedom of speech is now questioned.
Okay, so not a lot. We don't talk very much about Prince Andrew here and his Epstein ties. But you can read about them all over the internet. And this is one of the UK's most embarrassing scandals, because the US is known for, you know, a lot of scandalous things. But Prince Andrew was seen with young girls. And pictured with young girls at Epstein's little parties.
Well, not only that, but from what I understand from you guys in the UK, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Horatio says that this is like this is not a secret that that Prince Andrew's it's common knowledge that he was into little girls.
The UK's, but here's a very interesting. It's all blamed in Russia. Russia here. The UK's main external security unit, MI6, fears Russia may possess information potentially linking Prince Andrew to the Jeffrey Epstein sex abuse scandal.
It's amazing what Russia gets done, man.
I know. The secret intelligence service is apparently worried a disgruntled ex-cop who fled the U.S. and was granted political asylum in Russia might have compromising material on the royal, says the Times of London, consisting of direct evidence of the prince's 2001 tryst with the 17-year-old slave, Virginia Guffrey. Guffrey claims she was ordered to have sex with Andrew and many of Epstein's powerful friends as a teenager. Claims both Andrew and Buckingham Palace. Wow. I love how Buckingham Palace knows that for a fact that it's false, because they were there. The Times article draws on the bizarre case of John Mark Dugan, a Marine Corps veteran and former Palm Beach Sheriff's deputy who fled to Moscow in 2016 following an FBI raid on his home in Florida. Dugan, who resigned from the force in 2009, angered police chiefs in America after setting up whistleblower websites throughout the country for good cops to spill their secrets without fear of retribution. The Times reports MI6 is worried about how much Dugan knows of the original police investigation into the billionaire's pedo activities, which when they were based in Florida.
Streaky Bacon says Prince Andrew and the Duke, his father, have been rumored as pedophiles for decades.
So when contacted in Moscow last week, Dugan agreed that details about Epstein might be incredibly valuable for any intelligence agency and might give leverage over a guy like Prince Andrew. So, Breitbart News reported Queen Elizabeth's second son flew on Epstein's private jet on at least 2 occasions with the alleged
to me,
sex
it's
slave.
Just so dirty. Like the idea, it's just like disgusting. It's like thinking of some 1970s motel filled with cigarette smoke and dirt and like orange carpet, and like that's the vision that conjures up in my mind for these men getting on this airplane, including Bill Clinton, going to Epstein's pedo island.
Speaking of
wild, it's disgusting.
Flying, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle with 13 assistants will be flying to Africa with their climate message.
Oh,
yes. Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, make a long-haul flight to Africa on Monday to spread their climate advocacy to a new audience. Baby Archie will join them. They're one of their self-proclaimed only 2 children for climate's sake. With the team of 13 assistants, including a social media officer and a hairdresser for Meghan. Full-time hairdresser going on this trip. The Sussex first tour as a family comes after the Duke and Duchess flew to Rome to watch Meghan's friend and fashion designer get married. And they're going to go to Johannesburg, Botswana, and just tell people they need to save the planet. The past 2 months have been busy for the royal pair, with them spotted one stage taking 4 private jet flights in just 11 days. And
so I would actually really like to see them go instead to China. PragerU put out a video ranking, you know, the biggest polluters in the world, and China.
Actually, Africa is not on the list. Really,
China is topping the charts. Well, Indonesia is on there as well. The United States is at the bottom of like 7, and so I'm just curious why Africa they're not braving it and going to speak to the Chinese.
Africa still has a good number of people who are walking around barefoot, herding cattle.
There's not a lot of industry there. Not a lot of plastics. I mean, there is pollution in the cities.
But
okay,
compared
don't
to
get me wrong.
China,
Yeah.
which is completely industrial.
Completely
industrial.
I'm like, okay,
Africa's
y'all
not
going
the
to the
place.
wrong people.
Pretty much-
I think they're scared to go to China.
Yeah.
Y'all afraid.
He just has this thing with Africa, and
They all do. It's weird.
last month, remember, he was barefoot, and he told an elite audience of business leaders and celebrities that gathered at Google's annual deluxe retreat in Sicily to warn of imminent action. Tons of private jets there, but remember, they're the elite, and they're spreading a message,
right?
And so they have to for their safety. While I have you guys here, while we're talking about this, oh, and by the way, their renovations for their home cost $2.4 million. I'm sure that was really great for the environment. And remember, I think this last week, or a couple weeks ago, I don't know, he flew to Amsterdam to caution holiday makers and tourism chiefs about the damage being done to the environment by frequent flyers.
Oh, no, you didn't.
But he's different.
Right.
He has to because he's spreading a message. Right.
That's
Close
good.
enough.
No, it's great.
Close
It's
enough.
really good. Leah literally just decided to practice those songs out of the blue last night for the first time. So, and I didn't practice with her. They're just songs that we both love. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm glad that you guys were able to be here with us today. Thank you for joining us for our European and UK news. As always, we go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 1 p.m. roughly Eastern Standard Time. Like today we were late, but fashionably so. If you want to send us your letters, you can. P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. If you do send us letters, we will read them on air. So, unless otherwise noted, we love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Come back tonight, 7 p.m., 7:30-ish Eastern Standard Time. I will be here and we're going to stream Eric Mathis' sermon. You do not want to miss this. I'm really, really excited about it. So, we love you guys.
We love you. God loves you. Thanks for being here, guys.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
I was cold all alone. Your place